Now, a few minutes ago, you heard me make a brief reference to the War Memorial. It's about halfway between the Royal Chapel of St John the Baptist and Tynwald Hill, and it's the island's national war memorial. Sadly, the view of it is rather restricted for those of you on the grandstand, as it's set back a little. This memorial was designed by a Manx lawyer, Philip Kermode. He was also an archaeologist, and he went on to become the first curator of the Manx Museum. His rather dubious reputation was that he was hardly ever seen to smile. He was more generally referred to as PMC Kermode, and his memorial is now floodlit throughout the year. It commemorates the contribution made by the people of the Isle of Man to the British forces in wartime, which is acknowledged to be quite exceptional when related to the size of the population. And of course, that was much smaller then than it is today. The memorial records almost 1,200 casualties from the First World War and nearly 500 from the Second. Today, shortly after the arrival of the Lieutenant Governor, there will be a wreath-laying ceremony at the memorial, and in anticipation of that, you may be able to see that the standards of the island's ex-service organisations are already gathered around the memorial. And may I respectfully ask those groups occupying stalls behind the grandstand to pause in their activities during the act of remembrance at the War Memorial. So, very soon, we expect to see the car bringing His Excellency the Lieutenant Governor to St John's. As is customary, he will be received by the Military Liaison Officer, a duty undertaken this year by Major Simon Potter, 103 Regiment Royal Artillery, assisted by Warrant Officer Nathan Paulus. It's also traditional that His Excellency is received by two captains of the parishes, and this year they will be Peter Kelly, MBE of Onken, and John Kenyuk, captain of this parish of German. Almost immediately after his arrival, the Lieutenant Governor will take up his position on the saluting base. There will be a general salute, and His Excellency will inspect the Guard of Honour before moving across the pathway to the War Memorial, where he will lay a wreath. Now, those of you who have programs for today may notice that it says that there will be a royal salute. A royal salute will only be given in the presence of a member of the royal family, and today there will be a general salute. So in a very few moments now, we will expect to see His Excellency arrive. Those of you who can see the main road will see that he will be preceded by motorcycle outriders from the Isle of Man Constabulary. He will stop in the centre of the green in front of us. The door of the car will be opened by the Governor's cadet, who this year is Cadet Flight Sergeant Geoffrey Williams. I think we can see a party of people coming across the road now towards the field, and these are the official guests of Tynwald, and they will assemble on the grass just near the wall lining the processional pathway, simply to watch the arrival of His Excellency and the inspection of the guard and the band. I shall introduce the guests to you at the conclusion of the church service, which begins at around 11 o'clock. Here are the motorcycle outriders now. His Excellency, as you can see, has arrived at St. John's, and if he follows his usual pattern, he will walk across to where some of the spectators are gathered there, and he will have a word with some of them before he goes across to the saluting base for the salute. When His Excellency mounts the saluting base, you will see that the Commander of the Guard, Flight Lieutenant David Ford, will advance to report his guard to the Lieutenant Governor, and he will say something like, "Your Excellency, the Guard of Honour is now formed up and awaiting your inspection, sir." Something like that. You can see that His Excellency is now making his way towards the saluting base, and when he arrives there, the Guard Commander will report his guard and invite the Lieutenant Governor to inspect the guard.
Stand
You can see that His Excellency is now moving along the rear rank of the Guard of Honour, found, as I said earlier, by the Queen's Colour Squadron of the RAF Regiment, which is based at RAF Northolt. For many years, the Queen's Colour Squadron was at RAF Uxbridge, but Uxbridge, I understand, has now been closed and is about to become a new housing estate. The Queen's Colour Squadron is now at Northolt. Queen's Colour Squadron, of course, being world famous, most of all perhaps for its displays of continuity drill, with hundreds of drill movements being performed without a single word of command. Lieutenant Governor now moving across to the band, speaking with the Director of Music, Flying Officer Chris Ianson. The band based at the RAF College at RAF Cranwell in Lincolnshire. The Director of Music for the band, Flying Officer Chris Ianson, a native of Stewarton in Western Scotland, and a percussionist by trade. Lieutenant Governor now takes his leave of the Director of Music and will move across towards the National War Memorial in preparation for the wreath laying. And we shall hear Last Post and Reveille played by the trumpeters.
Carry standards.
His Excellency approaches the memorial and lays his wreath.
Fanfares will take post. By the right, slow, march.
Thank you to everyone for observing the silence during that ceremony. Now, at this point in the ceremony, you can see that the Lieutenant Governor is now moving down the processional pathway on his way towards the church hall, which is next to the chapel down by the Lich Gate. Today, the church hall is being used as the robing room, where the Lieutenant Governor will join all the Tynwald members and the other dignitaries and officials who will be taking part in this Tynwald ceremony on the hill later. In a few minutes, there will then be a short procession from the robing room into the church, where, by custom, the Tynwald ceremony begins with divine service, which should take place at around 11 a.m. The service in the Tynwald Chapel today is being led overall by the chaplain of the House of Keys, the Reverend Bill Martin, and also involved are the Lord Bishop and the Dean of the Roman Catholic Church. The service lasts about 25 minutes and can be followed on the public address system and also on the big screen close to Tynwald Hill. Everyone here today is invited to join in with the singing. You can see the service printed in full in today's souvenir programs. And to encourage you all to join in, we once again have the fine voices of the Manx Festival Chorus with their director John Bethel, MBE, on the front rows of the main grandstand. Now, if you take your cue from John and the chorus, you won't go far wrong, particularly with a hearty singing of the Manx National Anthem on this, our very special day. Now, before the start of the service, we have a few minutes to take a brief look at the unique history of the Tynwald ceremony. The word Tynwald is Scandinavian. Translated, it means Parliament Field. In fact, all over the island, you will find many names with Norse origins, both place names and personal names. There are also a number of Celtic names on the island, and the Manx Gaelic language, which we shall hear later this morning, is also Celtic. So today we will hear the new laws read in English and then Manx, and you could also say in German, because Tynwald Hill is in the parish of German. Tynwald represents a system of government brought to the Isle of Man by the Vikings who settled here in the 9th century. The Vikings established similar assemblies wherever they settled, such as in the town called Tynwald, spelt with a D, in northern Scotland, which has the same Viking roots. Also, there are two places called Tynwald, spelled with a T, in both the Orkney and Shetland Isles. And near Dumfries in the Scottish borders, there is actually a village called Tynwald, but spelled with an I instead of a Y. So the name Tynwald is not unique by any means. Now, the origins of today's ceremony go back to a decision taken many centuries ago to create an annual open-air court at the Parliament Field, at which the whole nation would gather. The assembly was there to proclaim the law and to punish those who broke it. Today, the legislative part of this assembly still remains more than 1,000 years later, and this morning we shall be hearing from the Hill all the new laws passed by Tynwald during the last year, summarised in the Manx language as well as English. So you can see that the Tynwald ceremony really is a very special occasion for the Isle of Man each year, and is in fact unique in the world. No other ceremony like this is staged anywhere else on Earth. So today you are actually seeing a unique piece of history. Tynwald Day is always observed on the 5th of July, and it's celebrated by everyone on the island as the Manx national holiday. However, when the 5th falls on a weekend, as it has done this year, then the ceremony itself and the Manx national holiday moves to the Monday. So hence we are here today on the 7th.